Hello everyone, welcome to another top 3 video. Today we're going to talk all about the top 3 Warlord traits from the brand new Adeptus Mechanicus Codex. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell just in the corner over there so you know each time we release one of these videos. Right, let's get right into it. We've got our hands on the brand new Adeptus Mechanicus Codex that is being released this morning. That got released this morning. And we're going to talk about the top 3 Warlord traits from that book. Now, I think the Warlord traits aren't that great. Hear me out. I think the 3 here are the best ones by quite a bit, just because I don't think any of the other ones are that powerful. But it's okay because the rest of the book is very powerful. Trust me, the book is very powerful. Just if you haven't already, check out our battle report that was released last night, and you get to see David using his Adeptus Mechanicus army against my Drukhari army, and you'll see just how much they can do. Right, let's jump right into it. At number 3, I've got Masterwork Bionics. Now, this is for anybody, but I don't think it's a particularly great Warlord trait if you take it on any guy. I think this is specifically because it's the one that Belisarius Cawl has. So the Warlord trait itself is nothing special on a normal character in AdMech because they're not that tough. But that Warlord trait on Belisarius Cawl is really good. What it does is it gives the bearer a 4+ invulnerable save, and also you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of any attack that targets him. So check that out, man. Belisarius Cawl is already toughness 6, and he has 8 wounds with a 2-up save. He's now got a 4+ invulnerable save, and he reduces all damage by 1. He's going to be an absolute monster to kill. When you've got a character like that who gives out a lot of buffs, you want to keep him alive for as long as possible, and this Warlord trait is going to help you do that. In at number 2, I've got the Veiled Hunter. Veiled Hunter is really cool. It's the one that's specific to Styges 8. And I think it's incredible because it gives you maneuverability, which I think, AdMech, they lacked some tricks before. And this gives you some tricksiness during deployment. So what you do is you select 2 friendly Styges units. Doesn't have to be core or anything like that. Just 2 friendly Styges units and redeploy them anywhere in your deployment zone. But it's at the start of the first battle round. So imagine that. If I had some Iron Strider Ballistari, some robots, just plasma, destroyers, I could deploy them at the very back of my deployment zone. Then my opponent thinks they're safe where they're deploying. Then I can win the roll-off to go first, and then I would redeploy them to the front line and shoot away. And you can really catch a lot of people out with this one. So I think it's brilliant because it gives you some shenanigans, but also it can help you null deploy. You can deploy 2 units on the very front line with loads of guns, scare your opponent off. Then if you go second, you can redeploy those 2 hidden somewhere, and your opponent doesn't really have any good targets because they deployed back as they were scared of those 2 units. So I think it gives you a lot of maneuverability. And the important thing about this Warlord trait as well is if the mission you're playing uses strategic reserves, which all tournament missions do, then you can put those units into strategic reserve when you do your redeploy without paying any command points. Now, I think that's huge because a lot of the AdMech units in the current codex that are good right now have large footprints. So be able to put these large footprint units in reserve would be really good so they can't get shot turn 1. In at number 1 is Luminant Blessing. Now, this is the Lucius specific one, and I think this is the best by far. Adding survivability to units that are incredibly efficient at dealing damage from long range is just one of the best buffs you can get in the game, and this does that perfectly. You select 1 Lucius core unit within 9 inches of your Warlord, and each time an attack is made against that unit until the start of your next command phase, an unmodified wound roll of 1, 2, or 3 always fails. So you can only ever wound them on a 4+ maximum. That really helps. Now imagine if you've got a unit of 6 Iron Strider Ballistari. They're one of the best units in the Codex now. Probably the best unit in the Codex. But they're toughness 6. So if you shoot them with Eradicators, you're going to be winning them on 3s. And some weapons in some armies will be winning them on 2s, especially when you get into combat with like hammers from Blood Angels and you +1 to wound. You could be winning these guys on 2s. Not anymore. You can only wound them on a 4+. That makes them instantly a lot more survivable than they were a minute ago. They've now got a 3-up save. You can use Shroud's Arm to give them a 2+ save. Then on top of that, they can have this transhuman ability. They got 6 wounds each, and their shooting potential is just insane. So because this keeps a unit that's otherwise very fragile alive for a lot longer than you'd expect, I definitely think this is the best Warlord trait in the Codex. So these are my top 3 Adeptus Mechanicus Warlord traits. Like I always say, if you have any that you think are going to be really cool in this new book, please leave them in the comments below for everybody to share and enjoy. And until the next video, guys, I'll see you later.